What a bullet! Scott Arfield! He's been threatening that recently, and all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. Here's Shurandy now. On the outside, decent.
Barnes! He got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Shurandy! And there was Ashley Barnes! And Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly, finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell, saved by the keeper.
Burnley won it to the end. That is magnificent. They deserve that.
On by Paul Patella, off for a hat trick.
He's got it. Hat trick for Nathan Teller. Oh, he's on fire at the minute. 3-0 Burnley. It's Nathan Teller's day.
Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby. Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. Have a shot.
Oh, the goal. Manuel Benson once more. That is top class.
Burnley have done it. Fantastic. Clarets deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are back. TurfCast is officially back doing the lives. We had a few weeks off from the lives and I've forgotten how to take pictures off when the video's on, quite obviously. It's been that long, but I've still been ticking the channel along. I don't know if you've noticed it. We have been doing some daily news shows. They've gone down very well. They've created quite a lot of new subscribers for us as well, so hope to see some of the new lads and lasses watching the stream. Now, get your comments coming in. It's always good to see the same old faces in the chat. Dan the Salman says, yo, TurfCast. How you doing, mate? Hope you're well. Unfortunately, not much has happened in the time we've had off, because the plan was never to have time off. Hence why I've been carrying on doing the news shows, but there's just been nothing really to talk about. We still don't have a manager. We've brought in one player. One player is leaving. Charlie Taylor probably be announced at Southampton tomorrow, some point next week. But some little things have started to happen now. So you've got down to Bellamy or Parker, probably we'll get into that. You've got, like I said, Sambo coming in, a new sponsor, and then you've got stuff like rumours of more outgoings, such as Trafford Twine, and incoming, such as a left back from Brazil. We'll get into that. We will get into that. But as you can see, I'm joined by Sam from Clarets Roundup and graphic designer Andrew from Always Claret. How we doing, lads?
All good, mate. All good.
Yeah.
I see someone's doing well with that brand new England shirt on. 80 quid, was it, Samuel?
It's from DHgate, so...
Oh, fair enough. Just hoping I admitted that. Fair enough. I'd have just lied. Fair enough. Thing is, I've tried on there a couple of times, but it's always like horrendous sizing and stuff. Like I don't know if I'm just getting it wrong. I don't know how to use it, but yeah, fair enough. I do want one of them shirts, but not for that money. Hence why I've got one on from about 6 years ago that I think I got second-hand, if I remember rightly. But I was just telling the lads a story actually off air. I have recently bought, because I went into what's it called? Sports Direct. And I thought, go on, I'll see if it's true about them being like 80 quid. And I went in and they were like, one were 80 quid, one were 130 quid. I was like, absolutely no chance. And I saw a score draw shirt from 1982. I'm like, yes, I'm having that, 30 quid. So I bought it. I've worn it once. And I don't know what it is. If anyone wants to drop me some advice on washing machines, because I've put it in the washing machine, right, and it's happening to all my white clothes. It's got this big grey mark down it now. And it will wash off, but now I've got it out at washing machine today. I'm like, get in, and I've seen this big grey line down it. I'm like, fuck's sake, I don't know what's doing it, but it's happening to all my white stuff. So I can't wear that one today, so I'm wearing this blue one. It's a little tight, I'll be honest. The man boobs are on show a little bit, but anyway, how have we been, lads? How have we been for the last 4 weeks? Sam, I'll start with you. You're training for some like amazing personal training thing. High Rocks, is it? You must be like the peak of fitness at the minute.
Oh, you'd like to think so, mate. But yeah, it's. I actually realised how unfit I actually am. Yeah, no, I've been doing that, working, and then obviously watching England. So it's just been a roller coaster, hasn't it? I've not even really had Maxwell Cornet over here.
I've done it again.
You've done it again.
It's because I keep looking at myself on screen and it's been flipped.
Oh dear me! But yeah, like just been following England. To be fair, I'm not even going to lie. I have absolutely tried to distance myself from a bit of Burnley stuff for a while, just because there's so much negativity from last season. I feel like everybody needed a bit of a detox. So I've not even really massively kept up to date. Obviously, I've kept up to date with the manager situation, because obviously we all want to know who's coming in next year. But at this point, I just want to enjoy a bit of summer. I can't be bothered. Like, we've already sifted through like 9 managers, and here we are at the bottom of the pile. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. How have you been, Andrew? What have you done with your summer holidays, your time off?
Yeah, been all right. Not really done much. Like Sam, following in England. Tried to watch as much of the Euros as I could. Even at we had like the 2:00 games on my phone, just sat there and thinking, shit, my manager's going to come over and bollock me, and instead he's asking me what score is. So, yeah, just keeping up with Euros. And I've been put in charge at sweepstake at work, and everyone thinks I've rigged it somehow because they didn't get the best team, and I ended up with Georgia. So how can I rig it when I've got Georgia?
I got Czech Republic in ours, mate.
I don't think as good as Georgia have been, I don't think they're going to win it. So when they get knocked out, I think you've got that in your bag, mate. I think you can be like,
honestly, mate. They've had a good tournament, to be fair.
Yeah, they've done really well.
When they played Portugal, I were expecting us to lose 4-0. So I'm happy with us getting to where we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fair enough. Keep your comments coming in. M Max in the chat. He says, "Morning, one and all. Initial thoughts is nothing with the club making sense at the minute. What's going on?" Then he says, "Afternoon, even." Yes, it is afternoon, mate. Afternoon, says the true red. Afternoon, mate. Burnley till I die says greetings. Dan Taylor says, "Wagwan, boys." Like it. Burnley till I die says, "Ain't bought an England shirt since Nike started making them." Fair enough, mate. TYCRS, what are you thinking about the rumours about the price of Burnley kits? 60 quid for the top. Well, mate, the rumours I heard is it's going to be 70 quid, but we'll get into that later on. Craig Speak says, change the washing machine. I would do, mate, but it's only like 3-year-old. When we moved into this house, we bought brand new dryer, brand new washer. Shouldn't I be having to change a washing machine after 2 years? I might have to get some Calgon or something. Dan Taylor says, hasn't improved right much. No manager, no clue what's going on. Yeah. And Paul Yates says, how many of you watched the Denmark way of playing football last night, just in case, and your thoughts? Well, we'll get into that actually, mate, because obviously the current situation with the manager is that we still, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold, so I might cough quite a lot, is that we still don't have one. A lot of the reports are saying at the minute it's down to Bellamy or Parker. A lot of the chats that I'm having, to be fair, with people are saying it's down to Bellamy or Parker. The current Denmark manager is actually the current favourite, though. He came in from nowhere yesterday or the day before to be the second favourite, and now he's been backed in to the favourite as well. But the quotes that he said today don't make it sound like he's about to leave. I know some people will go, yeah, but Company didn't sound like he's about to leave. Yeah, but this guy might not be a massive snake, whereas Company obviously was. I think we found out recently over the last few weeks that he was approached by Bayern before the last game of the season against Forest. And I went back and had a look at his comments after the Forest game now. And we're not going to chat about this. It's just me thinking out loud. And when he was talking about next season, I thought, you bellend, like you already knew at this stage you'll probably go in. But anyway, I don't think Kasper Hulmand, I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm probably wrong, is about to leave Denmark, judging by his quotes. But Sam, I'll start with you. I know you've already said you're kind of fed up in the manager situation. I guess you're just going to echo them sentiments now. Like, what are your thoughts on the manager situation at the minute? Because it's what, four weeks since Company left now, or nearly 4 weeks?
Yeah, I think there's an element of me where I kind of get why it's taken so long. Like, we might as well have used the time over the Euros. Like, genuinely, we might as well. There was no mad rush and still is no mad rush. The players have only just started to come back into the squad anyway. If we are having a conversation about bringing a manager in, to my knowledge, the conversation is it's this week it'll be announced.
That's what Sasha reckons, yeah.
Yeah, whether it's Parker or Bellamy, like, for me, they're the two. Kasper Hjulmand, the only way that I can see him coming is if Denmark get rid of him because he didn't get past the round of 16. Obviously, I know it's a difficult task against Germany, but that's the only way that I could see him becoming manager for us. My stance still stays the same with Bellamy. I'd rather have a manager. So if it is down to Scott Parker, to be fair, he's got a pedigree of doing it. He did it in the Championship, scoring the most goals in a very, very dominant Fulham team. So he is a decent manager, to be fair. He's had spells elsewhere as well in the Premier League. Okay, granted, they didn't go as well as he might have liked, but, you know, he's an actual manager. My only disappointment with Burnley's managerial recruitment is it does feel like we're scraping the barrel. It does feel like we've gone for everybody else. Everybody else has said no. So now we're turning around and going for the last case scenario. Like, to be fair, I've had this conversation as well about Van Nistelrooy. I fully backed that idea. When they said Van Nistelrooy, I was like, brilliant. He's apparently he's metal and pace. He's coming with a database of young players. It backs the same kind of stance that we're going for as a club, buying young players, selling them on for profit, trying to improve young players. He's obviously got a good style of play. He was doing well at PSV before he left. So he was the manager that I went for. However, the second I found out that he wasn't going to take a managerial position to go and be somebody's number two, all respect went out the window. If you have no ambition as a professional, if you would rather take an assistant manager job and go play second fiddle to somebody else rather than take on a project and actually take ownership of it. So as soon as he didn't come, that was it for me. Like, you know, I completely got over it within milliseconds when I found that out. I think people will want it to happen quickly, but I'm glad the club has taken the time to go over its options and survey who's around and things like that. So in my opinion, if it happens this week and it is Scott Parker, it's not the end of the world. And we'll back Scott Parker 100%. My only gripe would be if we do go for Bellamy, as much as people are happy with him because he's a safe option. He knows the club. He doesn't have to have that bedding in time. But for me, he's the one on that list who's the biggest risk because he has no managerial experience. And giving him the reins, if you'd have done it, let's say hypothetically we didn't get promoted the season before with Company, and it all went to pot, and we finished mid-table, and we got rid of Company, and then Bellamy took over. In that sense, the expectation's different. Now we are expected to bounce back pretty quickly because of the strength of the squad we've got, the financial backing that we have. We are expected to do more. So if Bellamy has that on his shoulders, in my opinion, I don't think he'll thrive from that. If he comes in, will I back him? 1,000,000%. 100% I'll back him. But if you were to ask me right now, who would I want? He's bottom of my list, 100%.
Fair enough. Nathan McLean says Bellamy would be a decent appointment for me. Continuity for the players, familiar with the club, and chucking Jackson for support too. He knows the club. I'm leaning more towards you, Sam. If the reports are true and it's between Bellamy and Parker, I want Parker just because he's got two teams out of this division before. Mm-hmm. I think it would have to be a case of keep an eye on him next year because he's not done very well in the Premier League, and it might have to be a case of go up and sack him after like 10 games if we're getting beaten 9-0 and things like that, which he has been done in the past. So for me, out of them two, Parker, but none of them fill me with any confidence. Obviously, they've been on your screen for a while, but they are the current bookies. Odds, Kasper Holman, the current Denmark manager, is odds on favourite at 4-7. Then you've got Bellamy at 2-1, Parker at 7s, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at 14s, Corberan at 20s, Henriksen at 25s, Igor Tudor at 28s, Lampard 33s, Rossini at 33s, and I think there's some more underneath that, but they are as runs, to be fair. So it's an interesting one. As a comment did say earlier on, there's been about 8 different favourites, and I think he literally is the 8th different favourite now. So we've had Rossini went odds on at one point. Lampard's been odds on. Obviously, Bellamy's been odds on. Holman is now odds on. Van Nistelrooy was odds on. There's been so many different. The bookies haven't got a clue. Henriksen, he were another one that came out of nowhere after the appointment of the assistant manager, who's Henrik Jensen. I'm going to say his name escapes me, but just suddenly popped back into my head. Sometimes you can see why they come out of nowhere because something makes sense. Fans are making a link and all the money goes on them, and that's why obviously the bookies end up putting that in. Joey Schilling says, surprised you haven't been favourite yet, Joe. Genuinely, mate, if somebody mentioned it to Sky Bet and everybody started sticking a tenner on it, I'd probably come into favourite. Andrew, your thoughts on the current manager situation?
I just want it done now, to be honest.
Yeah.
Bit like you two with regards to Bellamy, where he wouldn't be the worst option if he came in. I'd back him. But like I think the last time we talked, I was a bit more. I was up for Bellamy, but the more it's gone on, my thinking is if it was going to be Bellamy, they'd have done it by now, or you'd have liked to think. But I want a manager. We need a proper manager. We don't just want to be a testing ground for someone to have the first managerial job. I'd be happy with Scott Parker if it looks like it's going to be him or Bellamy. So I'd be happy with Scott Parker. But my only concern is with Parker, same with Lampard, same with Van Nistelrooy when we were linked with him. If we were to go up, my concern's not about going up this season. It's next season. Can they keep us up? And I can't see Parker doing it. I can't see Bellamy doing it. I couldn't see Van Nistelrooy doing it. I can't see Ollie doing it. It's where we are. I don't want another season like last season.
Yeah, it weren't great, were it? Does any of you still think as well? Because there's been a lot of people saying this on Twitter, and George just said it now in the comments. I just don't see us getting either Parker or Bellamy, and he still thinks there is a twist in the tail still, and he goes on to suggest Igor Tudor. Do any of you two think there could be a twist in the tail? Because there's a lot of people suggesting it on Twitter now, and the bookies don't seem to have a clue, and a lot of the reports have been wrong. Fab was saying that RVN's nailed on. Sasha said it's definitely, well, he said definitely, obviously, but he said RVN was pretty much nailed on. And then even when it looked like he was going to the reports came out about him going to Manchester United, Sasha was like, oh my God, this is a massive surprise. So I don't think many people, apart from ALK and the board, have got a clue. So maybe there could be an ace up Pace's sleeve.
Yeah, 100%.
I still think there's a twist.
Yeah. I mean, look at how many twists have happened in the last 3 weeks. Like you've said, like bookies' favourites and stuff. At the start, we were getting reports of it. It's definitely Lampard. Lampard's number one target. Then we got RVN. Then we've got all these other names thrown around. And, we had Knutson, who was going to Sunderland, but we wanted to try and put a bid in there somewhere to try and say, oh, come to us. Then it was nailed on that he was coming to us, and he was like third favourite, and now he's not even in there. Like, you can't tell who's actually.
Someone mentioned that in the comments.
Yeah, at the end, you don't actually know what is actually going on at the club fully. Of course, there is going to be. It's easy to link with Parker and Bellamy, in my opinion. Anyway, Bellamy was the assistant manager, so it's the easiest link you could possibly make. He's just going to step up. Scott Parker's another easy link because he hasn't got a club and he hasn't had a club for ages. It's like when we're getting links to Alan Pardew and all that lot. Like, we're getting links with managers that haven't got a club. You could do that for so many managers. Like, there's a twist in the tail somewhere. But my only thing is I have a feeling that all the twists have happened now. Like, we've been nailed on getting 3 or 4 managers now, and I think the club will be okay. Like I said at the start, I think the club have done the right thing by letting it play out through the Euros and not making a quick decision. But I also think now, as we're into the knockout stages of the tournament, I think it's starting to get to a point where, okay, we should probably speed this process up. Like, we should have had somebody by now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree. I do think it's a good thing to do, to take your time, to make sure you get the right man rather than just rushing into an appointment and then somebody else becoming available who would have been much better, like rushing into Craig Bellamy, for example, and then somebody else becomes available. So I get the club taking the time, and I'm still not panicking just yet. I know there's a few people out there, especially on the socials, panicking. I think this week has to be the week, though. The players are back now. They've been back for a week. If it's going to be somebody else that isn't Bellamy, who's going to be a complete different sort of ethos and mindset, then we're going to have to get it sorted. And he's going to get his ideas across to the players. Like, we don't even have any friendlies announced yet, for God's sake. And that's probably something to do with the manager. Because we had these Hoffenheim rumours and Rangers and Celtic rumours that I'd heard, but then nothing's been confirmed. And apparently someone said to me recently that maybe the VK pre-season plans have been binned. So it's just a lot does need to be sorted out. And for me, I think this week's got to be the week, and then we can draw a line under it and move on.
I think that's my biggest thing with it now. That's my biggest thing with bringing the manager in. I don't even necessarily care who it is now. I feel like we've gone full circle. I cared at the start. I've now got to the point where I'm a little bit past caring who it is. We just need somebody in so that we can start looking at the other things, the things that actually matter. Because the person who comes in has a huge part in how we play, who we bring in. Can those players play that certain way? Can we keep players on side like Benson and Zaruri? Can this new manager come in, put his arm around them and say, that last manager didn't have a clue how good you are. I know how good you are. You are vital players in my squad. Like, we need to now know these next steps, because these next steps also determine how we feel the season will go. If you were to tell me now, do I think we're going to go up? No. If you were to tell me Craig Bellamy is going to be our manager, do I think we'll go up? No. If we bring in Scott Parker, do I think we'll go up? I think we have a better chance with Scott Parker, who is a manager who knows how he wants to play, who's played attacking football in the Championship before, who's scored the most amount of goals. He's the one of all the names that we've spoke about gives me confidence. If the Danish manager somehow actually genuinely becomes a thing, that would be incredible, because I don't think they play bad football. They battered England when they played us. Like, you know, he's got a very, very, very good style of play, and I think that would suit what we've already got. But it's those next steps now for me. They're the biggest thing. I don't care who it is now. We need to stop focusing on who's the name and start thinking, how is it all going to pan out next season? That's why we need to make the decision quickly.
Yeah, it needs to be done, like I said, within the next week, minimum 2 weeks. If we're still here in 3 weeks discussing this, then we can pack up and go home. It's going to be a disaster. But just to conclude on this section, Sasha Torvaleri, the Belgian journalist, who had a bit of a rant towards Burnley fans, but does seem to be getting stuff correct again recently, apart from the Ruud van Nistelrooy stuff. But it sounds like Van Nistelrooy changed his mind more than anything. Did say that we'll be looking to appoint a manager next week. So fingers crossed, if it is the Denmark manager, I'll be buzzing with that. But as somebody did just say in the quotes, they think it's going to be better. The Danish manager, here we go, John Butcher. I wonder where he got the nickname Butch from, with a last name like that. But he says it will be the Danish manager. Now they are out, they can announce it. But just to go full circle, because I did mention this earlier, but I didn't read out his actual quotes. He said last night, after Denmark were beaten, I have a contract until 2026. After that, we will analyse everything and talk about it. We'll see how we can improve the team. And that was reported in the Burnley Express. So that, to me, doesn't sound like a man who's about to leave his post anytime soon. But Vincent Kompany said some things that didn't sound like a man who's going to leave his post anytime soon. The difference is Hulman isn't a snake. Anyway, enough about the manager stuff. We need to move on. There's been an incoming this week. We'll start with you on this one, Andrew. Shurandy Sambo, right back, and by his own admission, he's a right back who likes to get forward. He is the Netherlands under-21 international. Only played 2 games, though, but has played for the under-16s and under-17s, so he's been in and around the youth setup at Netherlands as well. I'll be honest, don't know too much about him, but if his own admission of being a fullback who likes to get forward, that would fit in well with what we tried to do in the Championship last time, getting the fullbacks and forward and pinning teams in their own half and stuff like that. So if what he says is true, sounds like he'll be a good player. What are your thoughts on him, mate?
Yeah, he's almost. I think he's almost a replacement for Roberts, isn't he? It looks like he might be on his way, and this Sambo's basically a replacement for Roberts. Yeah, like you, I don't really know much about him. He's good on FIFA. I know that much. So I used to do that when I was a kid. When we got linked with a new player or we signed someone, I'd buy him on FIFA and see what they were like. Obviously, I know it's just a game and it's not realistic, but he's good enough for me on FIFA. So, yeah, he might be all right. But like I say, I don't know much about him.
Yeah, he, like I said, his own mission is he's a fullback that gets forward. When he moved to the club, he said this: I'm very happy to be here. I'm ready to show myself now. I chose Burnley because it's a historic club with a good fan base, and it was the right choice for me. The club, the fans, the stadium, the teammates, everything is a part of it, and it just felt good instantly, and it felt like the right place for me. It's been a good first week in training, so that bit was interesting. He's already been here for a week. He obviously came to us when the lads all came back. The coaches have been really good, and everyone around me has helped me settle in already. So Sam looks like he's already started and is settling in. Is there anything you know about him that we may not know?
Not really, mate. Not gonna lie. The only good thing is it seems like it's a bit of a Ian Matson archetype, doesn't it? You know, Dutch fullback, likes to attack. So maybe we'll see a more attacking right back this time in the Championship than a more attacking left back. But to be fair, it's a good start. It's a good sign. You know, somebody who's in the Netherlands under-21 setup, playing for PSV, coming through their academy. You're not going to be too shabby, Alonso, really, are you? So I thought you'd like that.
I love a good play on words, me. I always have done.
But yeah, so I'm pleased with the signing, but I still feel like I still think that there's more to come.
Yeah,
there's more to come. There's more to go. But I also think that this manager situation depends on a lot of it. Like you can't sell players and bring players in for a manager that doesn't want them there. Like this lad's come in. He's been linked with us since May. So, and we got told he was coming in May. So
I think it was like March, April. I think it's a long time.
It was a long time ago, wasn't it? So he's clearly the last Vincent Kompany type player. But it's a step in the right direction from a perspective of what we want as fans. I think I speak for a lot of people where I still think that whilst we did need to bring in experience in the Premier League around those young players, I do like the young player archetype. You know, type transfer windows. I do like it. I think it's a clever way to run a football club, is being able to self-sustain yourself and being able to bring in young players and getting the best out of them in their prime years or when they're trying to prove themselves. And I do think it's obviously proven to work for us. Okay, fair enough, it didn't work in the Premier League, but I think that's because we went a little bit overboard in comparison to what we did in the Championship. So, yeah, it's a step in the right direction. There's more to come, hopefully. But it's all about those players that leave now. It's when they leave, are we replacing them properly? Or are we saying that there's players that are already here that can play a part? Like we've said before, we've still got McNally on loan. We've still got Twine, who, is likely to leave. We've got Zaruri and Benson back now. We've got Obafemi back. Like, we've got a lot of either fat to trim or players to use. So
yeah, you know what? I'll bring this comment in from Craig Barnes because he says, "Afternoon, lads, with a massive squad. Who would you get rid of?" Obviously, Sam started chatting about some of that there. For me, I think we might not necessarily be a choice of getting rid of some of the fringe players. I think some of the better players are likely to leave. I know some people keep dismissing it on Twitter. I'm not particularly sure why, but if Sanderberg and Wilson Odebear are wearing Burnley shirts on the 1st of September, I will be absolutely astounded. I think them two leave. I think Trafford leaves. I think Twine leaves. That's 4 there. Obviously, Esteves just left. Coach just left. Goodmanson's just left. Charlie Taylor's about to leave. We'll get into that into the next bit.
Left, you mean?
Which what did I say? Esteves. Yeah, sorry, Esteves staying. Everybody,
I've not been looking on Twitter, but surely that's not happened.
Don't panic. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. 2 completely different looking lads as well. But Assignon's left, and that, to be fair as well, when you were saying that, Andrew, about this probably means that Roberts is leaving, bringing in Sambo. It might be a replacement just for Assignon. I mean, Leeds are interested. Yeah, Leeds are interested in Roberts, so I guess we'll see. We'll see. So I think like I said, that there's a lot of players leaving there, and I don't know how many I mentioned then, but that's 7. So do we need to start getting rid of all the rest of the fringe lads then after that? Like I can't see Obafemi doing too much. I won't mind seeing him leave unless he comes in now with a fire in his belly and tries to prove he's wrong, because he had a good 6 months at Swansea, so he needs to find that form again somewhere and turn into the player that he potentially could have been at some point. Other than that, some of the loan lads, I'd keep both Zaruri and Benson. I'm not so sure on Egan Riley because I haven't seen him play. I'm not so sure on who's the other one as well, who's been at Stoke and McNally. I'm not sure on him, so I can't really say either way. But there's all these players that, as Craig says, we've got a massive squad. But as Sam was saying, then do we need to get rid of all these fringe players because some of the better players will be leaving? But what are your thoughts on it? We'll start with you, Sam.
I mean, to be fair, I've got my opinion on a fair few of the players. Like I think, like that comment says there, I don't like the idea of moving Twine on. I think it's better to keep him than it is to move him on. I think of all the players that we've had out on loan and all the names of those genuine fringe players like McNally, Obafemi, Egan Riley. Those three could go before Twine for me. So why they're not having conversations about them and Twine's linked to Bristol City? Like, Twine came in as like a mainstay type player who was going to set the Championship alight. He was until he got injured. He got injured, and then ever since then, he's just not been able to fully get himself into any of the teams, really. He played all right for Bristol City. I won't lie. We've not seen an unbelievable version of Scott Twine in the Championship. However, playing for Bristol City and playing for Burnley are two very different things in the Championship, and that's not an arrogant thing. We are a Championship powerhouse, and it's mad to say that we're a powerhouse in any division, really, but we are a Championship powerhouse. And if you put Scott Twine in our team, who is surrounded by some very good players, I think he'd be brilliant. I completely agree with you as well. I also think Sander Berge and Odebear are leaving. I think people that think they're not are people that genuinely think players love football clubs like we used to have. That's not that's one negative to the style of, managing and bringing in players, and the recruitment process that we have now is we're not bringing in players and saying you're going to be here for 6-7 years. We're bringing in players saying you can improve and then leave. Like that. Yeah. That is what this is what the recruitment process goes through. So Sander Berge has come to Burnley from Sheffield United. He, in my opinion, has made a step up because he's come to a more attractive team, in my opinion, obviously biased aside. But like style of play wise, Sheffield United don't exactly play unbelievable football. We played really good football, and then last season it kind of fell apart, and he was still a diamond in the rough. So I still think he's going to get a move. Wilson Odebear just showed. He shut me up from the start of the season where I said £13 million. What have we bought him for? Well, that's exactly what we bought him for. We bought him to be an absolute world beater, and he was able to play versatile football, playing across the left and the right and attacking midfield. He's going to go. There's no doubt in my mind. He did more than enough to get a move. Trezor will go because I think Trezor will go.
I think he'll go. I completely forgot about him. That's why I didn't mention him, by the way.
I think he will go, but I don't want him to, because I genuinely feel like what we actually did was drop the ball with him as well. I think we dropped the ball with him, not the other way around. I think VK set his team up. He brought in two young players that weren't expected to start when Trezor wasn't there. Koleosho played unbelievable. You can't drop him. Trezor was meant to come in and be and start on that left-hand side, no doubt. Yeah. And Koleosho came in and was a completely unknown and played brilliant. You physically can't drop him. Then after that, he came in, getting a couple of substitute appearances, didn't perform very well. In my opinion, got that Vidra treatment. Like, you got 5 minutes, you didn't perform, and then then VK was like, well, he's not got enough there, has he, clearly? So I'd like to see him stay, but I think he'll go. Amdouni's another one. I think he could stay. I think he could stay. But again, I think he's come from Basel with a lot of expectation. He's one of Switzerland's better young players. He's scored goals in the Europa League, and can't remember if he scored in the Champions League and stuff. But he came in with a lot of potential with us. It's like he's coming in and he can improve. I think he'll go. I don't think he'll stay in the Championship. And then obviously we've had the links with Bayer as well. So I think that's a big core of the squad that will leave. And like I say now, like fair enough if they leave. I've never been one of these football fans that sits there and has a go at players for leaving when a team gets relegated. Other than Mike McNeil, still will forever think he does not deserve that move, but whatever. But I also now more care about, can we get this manager in to get those players out, so now we know what we need to fill, because we'll get a fair fee for a lot of those players. Like even if we don't make all of our money back, that is 60, 70, 80 million pounds worth of players right there. 100%.
This is why I get annoyed with people whinging, saying, "Oh, we're in so much danger. We can be potentially going under. We've got so many sellable assets."
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people think, "Oh, well, they were shit last season, so they're not really sellable." They still are. We'll still make a lot of money on him. But just some names that were mentioned there that could stay in the Championship. Could Trezor, Amdune, Corley Orshaw. And then we've got, obviously, Esteve and Bayer as well. I've just the comment on screen here from my mate Leo, who says, has to be a top 6 finish, surely. I think with players like that, you've got to be looking at top 2 if they stay. It could end up being a bit of a disaster where they all leave and we're a little bit cut short because we don't even have a manager or anything yet. So we'll see. But I think if we have a quiet summer in terms of outgoings and just sell the want-aways like your Traffords, and not to put Burge and stuff in the want-aways, but they will want to play at a higher level rather than wanting away like just being petulant like Trafford. But all them sort of players, if we can keep them ones, and even with Scott Parker in, or potentially even Bellamy, like, I think we'll be okay. But anyway, speaking of players leaving, obviously you could all chat about Trafford in the chat.
Oh.
No, I'm not going to lose any sleep over him when he leaves.
Get him gone.
It don't seem like he wants to be here as well. Yeah, but Charlie Taylor to Southampton. Andrew, I'll start with you on this one. He's set to leave Burnley at the end of his current contract, and his current contract ends at midnight tonight. Was offered a new deal, but chose to turn them down and should sign for Southampton tomorrow. Whether it's made official tomorrow, I'm not sure. But it's looking like Charlie Taylor will be leaving Burnley at 1 minute past midnight tonight and getting straight on the M6 and going to the South Coast. What are your thoughts on it? Because I know you're a big fan of Charlie, as a lot of us are, to be fair. You know, he's been at the club for quite a while. He did very well in the Dyche era. Not so much over the last couple of years, but was good enough when called upon, in my opinion. Like, a lot of people said he wasn't good enough and stuff. He did okay when called upon for me. It was just... Obviously, we had Martson there in the first year, and he is a bit of a step down from Martson, in my opinion. But your thoughts on Charlie leaving, please, Andrew?
Yeah, it's a shame. He's a good player. I think he'd do well for us in Championship next year. Obviously, being linked to Southampton, you know, he's taking a step back to the Premier League. He did all right for us through, you know, when Dyche was here. I feel like he got a little bit shit on by company. A little bit, especially, you know, trying to make him into a centre half when we could all see that he wasn't a centre half. And then obviously we brought Matson in, and he's, like you said, he's a bit of a step down from Matson. But yeah, last year he did the job when he needed to. Yeah, there's no hard feelings. He's going back to Premier League. I hope he does well with Southampton. I just wish we were keeping him because we've no left back now.
Yeah, well, we'll get on to that. There's rumours that a new Brazilian left back's coming in, but nobody has a name. Nobody has a name. I don't know if that's just a bit of nugget of information from the powers that be at Burnley Football Club to try and keep everybody on side. But as Burnley Till I Die says, wish Charlie all the best. He's a good servant. Joey Schilling says, can't fault Taylor for leaving, to be fair, being a good servant over the time he's been here. I'm surprised he's got a Premier League move, I'll be honest. I'm not saying he's good enough for the Premier League. I just thought over the last couple of years, especially last year, clubs might have looked at him and thought, potentially not for us, but it's one of the bottom end teams in the Premier League, sorry. So again, I understand it. Sam, your thoughts, please, mate. Charlie leaving, sad to see him go, or understand it, or a bit of both?
Yeah, it's a bit of both, really, isn't it? Like, I think it makes sense that he's going, because I do think towards the latter stage of his time, of his tenure at Burnley, I do think that he wasn't treated with the same respect that he gave us, like, as fans. Like, he played, and every time he went out, he played for the shirt. He played in so many different systems. He played centre half, played left back in an attacking system, played left back in a defensive system. You know, he's been brilliant over the years. For me, there was one point where I genuinely thought there was a shout for him to get an England call up. I think it was like 2019, 2020. I genuinely thought he was brilliant. So yeah, it's sad to see him go, but I also completely understand. I completely understand him leaving, and I think Southampton's a great move for him as well. such a brilliant move because he's never going to start. He's not there to start. He knows what he's going for. He's going to stay in the Premier League. And if they get an injury or they need somebody to come on in the last 10, 15 minutes, he's a brilliant player to bring on. He's defensively brilliant. His defensive IQ is class. He's still got the legs because he's not old. So, yeah, I think fair play to him. Brilliant player. And, yeah, he's done a lot for the club. So you can't fault him when he leaves. It's similar to like Taki and Ben Mee, and it like when they leave, you just say, yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough. Enjoy it. Wish you the best. Completely agree with that one. Joey Schilling says in the chat, any news on when the shirts are being released? Could that be tomorrow's news? I think tomorrow's a bit premature, mate. From what I've been told, it is sometime in July. I mean, the club put that on the website themselves and saying from what I've been told, it's literally on the website. But from what I've been told, it's going to be around the 11th. Again, take that with a pinch of salt because you can take me as a source and stick it right down at the bottom underneath Alan Nixon. But that's what I've been told. But speaking of the shirts, obviously, we have a new betting sponsor. 96.com are the new front of shirt sponsor. Rumours that it's going to cost £70 a shirt, by the way, but Preston North End's shirts, who are made by Castor, cost £60. So the rumours are from social media. So again, take that with an even bigger pinch of salt. It will probably be around a similar price to Preston's, maybe a little bit more, maybe 65 because we're XPL. And let's face it, a bigger club than Preston North End. So again, we'll see. But 96.com, Sam, I'll start with you. Bit of a hoo-ha on social media again because it was a betting sponsor. Are you bothered? What are your thoughts on a betting sponsor?
Just on front of the shirt, isn't it? Like you don't have to follow the link and go to it. Like it's just on front of the shirt. I never fully understand like why people argue about it. Like they give the most money to the club to be a sponsor. That's why every club has a betting sponsor. Unless you're a big club like City and you can use your own, like Fly Emirates and Qatar Airways and all that type of stuff. You're gonna try and do it for the money, aren't you? So at the end of the day, like you don't have to use that betting app just because it's on front of the shirt. Like it's just a shirt sponsor. Like I don't know. I never feel like it gets thrown around on Twitter all the time, and like people proper kick off, and I'm just like, every club does it. Like, so.
What annoys me is the bit where, because I agree with you, Sam, but what annoys me is the bit where people, and don't get me wrong, people are allowed a different opinion, and I'm not going to rubbish it, but it gets me when people say the club should take a moral stand ground. Like, why should we be that club? Why don't all clubs collectively do it? Why should we disadvantage ourselves and say, right then, instead of taking 2 million a year, that's just a number I've plucked out of thin air, by the way. I'm not saying 96.com are paying that. They might be paying much more. They might be paying much less. I don't know. But why should we say to 96.com, no, we're not going to take that £2 million a year. We're going to take 500 grand a year from fucking, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a local company. Holland's Pies. Why should we Holland's Pies are a great sponsor, by the way.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, probably. I think them classic football shirts and Ensley are the actual goats from the years. Oh, and BurnleyFootballClub.com when we couldn't actually get a sponsor, so we just put our own website on there. But I don't see why we should disadvantage ourselves. We're a business. I understand people's point of view that gambling can cost lives and stuff like that, and it's obviously an issue there because they are being banned eventually. But I don't see now why the club at this stage should be the club to take the moral stand.
I don't disregard that view at all either. Like, but I also think you like you've said, why should we be the ones to take the moral high ground and be the ones to do it? Like, if you don't want it on your shirt, like you've always got a knife in the kitchen just to like try and peel a little bit of it off. Like, and if
people do offer that service anymore. Like you are taking the people, you can genuinely pay someone a tenner to get rid of it.
Like my thing is, like, if you're really that bothered about it, like you can do something to fix it. Or like when you go to the club, can you not, like, surely you can go up to the counter at the Burnley club shop and say, can I have a shirt in the back that you've not put the sponsor on the back? Because hopefully there's one, or surely there's one or two just lying about, and then you can just give it to them. Like, at the end of the day as well, it really genuinely isn't that deep, though, is it? Like, of course I understand that side of it, Of course I do, but every club does it. So if we don't do it, are you not going to go to the next home game where we're playing Stoke and they've got one on their shirt? Like I say, just seems a bit.
When's it going to end, Robbie?
Basically, it just seems a bit petty, really. That's my
own. Before I come to Andrew, I take exception to this comment, Burnley till I die. He says, the pies are good, but the half-time Holland pie entertainment wasn't. How dare you? Pie and chip was class.
Pie and peas.
How dare you?
Honestly.
They call pie and chips.
Bright green ball.
Honestly, I used to love that.
It was class. It was brilliant. How dare you say that, Burnley?
That needs to come back more than anything.
Mate, I would love it if that came back. Apparently, the club still have the pie somewhere. I've been trying to speak to somebody at the club to get the pie off them, but nobody answers emails at the club unless you call Sasha Torvalera, and then they just fucking ring you instead.
But when you send in my bedroom, 100%,
I'd love it. I would absolutely love it. I just sit there throwing the balls into the pie. Absolutely class. But yeah, Andrew, your thoughts on the betting sponsor? Bit of a fuss this week on Twitter. I'm not sure what your thoughts on it are, mate.
Honestly, I'm with you too. I couldn't care less, to be honest. They pay. It's a sponsor on the front of the shirt. We've all got our favourite shirts. We all like different shirts. All right, yeah, classic football shirts. It was a great sponsor. It was on a great shirt. Holland's, Ensley, like you guys said, like the great sponsors on great shirts. But you know, if they're going to pay, like you said, 2 million or whatever it is, compared to 500,000 for a local company. Of course, we'd like a local company on the front of the shirt, but if they're not going to pay the same amount, then it is what it is. Like, if you don't like the shirt, don't buy the shirt. If you don't like the sponsor, don't, you know, it'd be good if you could buy it without the sponsor on the front of the shirt, like I know some people have suggested.
Yeah, Sunderland do it, Watford do it, clubs do it now, so that the option is there.
Yeah, they should do it. I completely agree with that, but
they should offer it. I agree with that. And I think they'd end up selling more.
Yeah, 100%.
The only thing I don't like is that the kids who are probably, you know, the main audience for replica shirts can't wear the same shirt that their favourite players.
Do we still have this partnership with Dude Perfect? Will Dude Perfect be on the shirt again next year? Because my little boy loves the Dude Perfect sponsor, even though he's never watched Dude Perfect ever in his life. I don't know what he loves about it, but he does. So it'll be interesting to see that maybe we've gone down this route because we still have this Dude Perfect sponsor for the next few years as well. I don't know. I haven't seen anything on that, to be fair. But yeah, comment on screen. Anthony David says, Coffee in the Pot was a song played. Great tune. Absolutely was. I was singing it then when Andrew were chatting. But yeah, it really was. So yeah, I'd see Dan. Obviously, we are going to have a different sponsor for the kids' shirts. We always have done when it goes illegal to put a betting firm on the kids' shirts. To be fair, so it's going to be interesting. But yeah, the rumours are it's going to be £70 a shirt as well. What are your lads' thoughts on that? I'll stick with you for this one, Andrew. £70 a shirt, and obviously, I think you're like me, Sam. Andrew got a kid, so it's a case for me. Say if I get myself a shirt, I've got to get Parker. Do you not have one? Sorry, I'm getting you mixed up there. Say, like, if I go and get myself a shirt for £70, and then I've got to get my little boy one, I presume his will be 40. That's £110 on 2 shirts. Yeah. Scandalous. So thoughts on the prices, please, mate.
Thing is, it's my birthday in July, and every year...
played that well. You've played that
every
very
year.
well.
My sister gets me a £20 gift voucher for a shop. My other sister gets me a £20 gift voucher, and Mrs.'s mum and dad gets me a £20 gift voucher. So I just need to pay a tenner, and that's it. I've got the shirt. So it don't matter to me. But no, I've always liked the fact that we're quite a community club, and shirts were always about £40, and then they went up to 45, and £70 for a shirt's a bit, especially when you go in club shop now and you've still got the shirt from 2 seasons ago for £15 and last season's shirt for 35. Like, if it's £70 for shirt, I'd rather wait till end of season when they put them on sale. Like, do you remember when they used to be a £5 at end of season? Like,
yeah, I remember once I went to the club shop. It was when, apologies if you hate betting, but it was when Coral used to be where the club shop is now, and it was that little teeny tiny club shop that you'd have to walk in and go on the left. I can't remember, but then when they expanded it and Coral moved to the other side of the street, it was on the right. So it was when the club shop used to be on the left of where, I don't know, I'm explaining that very, very poorly. But it was that year when we had like P3 computers, so 97, 98.
Yeah.
And I went in there, so I'd have been 10-year-old, and it was just like £2.50 for everything. And there were just boxes of stuff everywhere at the end of the season. I got like a drill top, an away shirt, some like pants, everything was £2.50. So that's interesting. I don't know why my smoke alarm's going off in my house. Apologies if you could hear that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do now later on in the year, won't it? Because it needs to be a bit cheaper, because 70 quid is far too expensive.
This will be unbelievable for the podcast listeners later.
Yes, apologies for the podcast listeners. I am muting my microphone and texting them saying what the hell is going on.
I mean, yeah, the price of it isn't brilliant, but I suppose a lot of clubs do it, and that's also not me saying that it's acceptable. I also think 70 quid for a football shirt is absolutely shocking, like, and especially for a town club as well. Like, we're not a big inner city, big global club like Chelsea and Arsenal, where they can say you can give 100 quid for a shirt. We're Burnley, and we really need to look at the price there, because that is ridiculous, isn't it? 70 quid is shocking. So
I wonder how much they are on DHgate.
Well, this is the problem. This is the problem for these big clubs. When they're like charging 100 quid, you can think, sod that, I'm going to go to DHgate and get one from there. We don't have that option. The only place we can get it from is the club shop for 70 quid.
If you, that's what I mean. If it's a big club, you can get it. I searched for Burnley on there the other day, and I think it came up like Villa and West Ham, and I was just like, that's it, I'm gone, can't do it.
Oh no, they've got last season's the W88, because I was looking for a classic. Yeah,
no
interesting development. Maybe we are. Maybe we're not big enough to be on DHgate, but maybe the people on DHgate have noticed that our shirts are going to be ridiculously expensive from now on, and thought, well, maybe, just maybe, there's a market there. I do quickly want to ask you two your opinion on something, because we've just spoken about the 96.com, and a lot of the stuff on the socials was they are paying the most anyone's ever paid to be on the front of our shirt. And now, those of you who watched my daily news shows will have already seen me talk about this, but I was roped into this when I seen it on social media, that they're going to be paying more than we've ever had. However, this sentence here on the club website says 96.com have invested a record commercial fee for Burnley FC while playing in the Championship. They've not worded that with that much clarity. Does that mean they're investing a record commercial fee despite us being in the Championship? Or does that mean they've invested a record commercial fee for Burnley while Burnley have been in the Championship? So, i.e., it's the most money we've ever had for a sponsor when not in the Premier League. I took that at first, because I saw it on social, as a record fee. But now I've seen that on there. That to me tells me that it's just a record fee while we've been in the Championship. What do you two make of that one?
I think it's the second thing that he said.
100%.
Yeah.
The way that they've worded that makes it sound more like it's the most money we've ever made from a sponsor when in the Championship, not the most money we've ever made from a sponsor.
Yeah. I mean, the club are going to make it 70 quid. So if it's going to be 70 quid, there's nothing we can do now. It's going to be 70 quid. So you can buy a shirt or not buy the shirt. They probably will change it the season after, because there'll be a lot of uproar about it being 70 quid. But for this season, they've said it'll probably be about 65, 70 quid. So you can't really do a right lot, can you? I mean, we're not going to all stand outside Turf Moor with white picket fences, are we? Like, it is going to be set in stone, isn't it? Like, it's going to be 70 quid. We're just going to have to deal with it, aren't we? Like, I might not buy it because 70 quid's a lot of money. I'll probably buy it when it goes on sale at the end of the season, when it's like...
Yeah, I'm one of them. I whinge about it, then buy it anyway. So I'm like the guy that everyone hates. I whinge about it, then I'm part of the problem. But
I'll just wait.
I like to have a Burnley shirt, so I'll just wait till it goes right down. Before we move on to England chat, because we're gonna do a bit of England chat at the end of the show. Everybody, look ahead to tonight's match. Sam's been asking for this pretty much since the start of the Euros, but then we couldn't get anyone together at some point. So then I was like, "Well, should we really do it now?" And then Sam was like, "Yes, I don't just want to talk about Burnley. I'm sick of it." So fine, we'll have a good chat about England. But before we do move on, anybody in the comments or any of the lads currently on screen with me got anything they want to chat about? I mean, there's potential more rumours of outgoings. We've spoke about Trafford. We spoke about Twine. You got Veghorst as well. Again, nobody's going to lose any sleep over him. We spoke about the left back from Brazil. So that was point number 5 on the agenda, but we've also kind of covered it as well. Fingers crossed my house isn't currently burning down because the smoke alarm has stopped. So hopefully it stops because the smoke has stopped and not because it's been engulfed by flames. But Dan Taylor does say, can I just ask, lads, are we hoping there'll be a better design on the home shirt that's coming out this season? Really want something smart and brave, not dull and same old. From what I've been told, I normally get some information, to be fair, on the shirts at this stage, but I haven't. I normally know the colour of the away and the third as well, but this year I haven't. I believe the home shirt is very similar to Villa's last year, just with a Burnley crest. Not exactly the same, just very, very similar. So make of that what you will. M. Max says, talking of tickets, what's happening with them next season regarding priorities, etc. And is the maximum of tickets purchased going to increase slightly? I have no idea, mate, to be honest with you on that one. The club haven't released information on that one. I believe the priority system will stay the same because it renews every 4 years, doesn't it now? So your 5th year will now drop off and last year will be put on or whatever. League fixtures, lads, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. The Rovers game being so soon, that does worry me, I'll be honest with you, because the last time we are better than them and we have a better squad than them, but they know now how to play in a certain system. They might lose, they should lose Smodics, so that will really affect them, but they've got a manager and they know how they're going to play. They're not going to necessarily hit the ground running because they're still going to finish probably like 19th or something, or hopefully 21st
last season. Like, why are we talking them up? Like, they were rubbish last year with the best striker in the league.
But does it not worry you that you're playing them that we are playing them so soon? Because last time we was in the Championship with a new manager, it took us like 10, 12 games to get into our stride. We're playing them on the 4th game of the season.
It's just horrible playing.
It is horrible playing them full stop, but
it's just horrible playing Blackburn and Leeds 2 weeks in a row. Like, I have the worst possible 2 weeks to have back to back ever.
But it could end up being the best possible 2 weeks, Sam.
Yeah, it could be great.
But I'm like you, glass half empty. There we go. To say I have a podcast, you'd think I'd be able to talk.
I'm nervous. I don't like playing Leeds because we lose all the time. Like, every time we play Leeds, we lose. So my lot down here just constantly have something to say. But then on the other hand, you just never, ever want to lose to Blackburn. Never. It's the one team that I would, hate losing to them. Hate it. It's horrible.
I've forgot what it feels like, and I'm not being arrogant. I genuinely have forgot how much it hurts losing to Blackburn. But I remember, obviously, we did. I was born in '88, so we didn't play him until I was alive. While I was alive until the year 2000. I remember losing that one at Ewood Park 5-0 and then just being like fuming. The one at the Turf hurt just as much, to be fair, in December, because that were 2-0. They scored just before half time, if I remember rightly. Then again in the second half. The one where we went 1-0 up at Ewood Park and then lost 3-2. That screamer from Robbie Blake. So there's been, obviously I've felt it, but it's been that long since it's happened. But I remember towards the end of it, we were just getting beat by them every single time. I became numb to it. So even when we've been getting beat by them back in the day, I was just completely numb to it because that's all we used to do is get beat against them. But obviously then we had that period of draws and then we've just had this period of dominance. So I think the fact that we've been so long, if they eventually ever do beat us again, the outpouring of celebration and emotion from them will just be too much. So it's going to be hard work. But they are shite. Let's not forget that. They nearly got relegated. And I saw Sam's tweet, because I have to send. Sam's very particular, everybody. I have to send the link to StreamYard on Twitter rather than on WhatsApp like I do for everybody else. So I've got to search his name on Twitter. And one of the last tweets were there, and it said, "I will never, ever, ever, ever forgive Leicester City." And I completely agree. Leicester were just pissed and they couldn't give a shit. And Blackburn, even with Smodics, should have got relegated if Leeds and Leicester had done their jobs. Fingers crossed they go down next year, because they're going to be selling Smodics. They have no money to bring any players in.
I still back that would have been the fun. Like, there's no coming back from that. Like, not only did you lose the league, sorry, not lose the league, let us win the league in your home ground, right? And let us laugh all over Ewood Park, but you also got relegated with the league's top goal scorer. There's no coming back from that. You would be the laughing stock of English football for years, and Leicester ruined that.
Their entire highlight as well of last season was us going down. Like, that was the only good thing that they had, was us going down. And for them to, if they'd have gone down as well on the last day, it'd have just, they'd have had nothing.
Yeah, you've got not like the only thing that they can take from last season was that we got relegated. That's it. And Schmodics was top goal scorer. Brilliant. You finished 19th, 1 point ahead of Huddersfield Town or Plymouth. Like,
they are.
It's ridiculous. But
right. Anyway, let's move on. England. Watch the numbers fall off now, but we are going to chat about England for about 15, 20 minutes. I've not been impressed. I have been bored to death watching them. I do not for 1 second think that football is coming home. Am I going to the pub to watch it later on, though? Of course I am. Am I going to celebrate like a child if we go 3-0 up? Of course I am. Do I think we will? No. Do I think we'll get through, though? Yes. I don't know. Sam, like, obviously, you're the one that's kind of pushed for this, so I understand that you've obviously been watching a lot of England games, as have you, Andrew. Obviously, I'll come to you in a second. But what have you made of it all? Because we have been absolutely... And I don't even think this is too much. I don't think this is too harsh, because we have won the group and people always go, why do you want you win the group? But the group was fucking, what was it? Slovenia, Denmark, and who else did we have? Serbia. We should be winning that group with 9 points, and we've won it with 5 points. We've been absolutely dreadful. We held on against Denmark, shite against whoever it were last game, Slovenia. So underwhelming, as Joey Shilling says there in the comments. I have not been impressed at all, and I just do not think that Southgate should be anywhere near that role anymore. But we should get past Slovakia tonight. But I genuinely believe that Switzerland will beat us in the quarterfinals. What have you made of it all?
Yeah, 100%. Switzerland absolutely played Italy off the park, and Italy have been one of the other top 10 nations like us that have been underwhelming and have had no identity. We look exactly the same. I don't think Southgate's the manager for me at all. I think if you actually look over his tenure, whilst finishing where he has looked good, getting to a final, getting to a semi-final, all that stuff looks good. Look at the route to the final that we've actually had in every occasion. And we've got it again. We've got it again. The only hard team we have to play on the route to the final is the Netherlands. Like, and we will not beat Switzerland. That's how bad we are. Like, we have got such a brilliant overall squad. I do feel for Gareth ever so slightly with the fact that the injuries that we have had at the time have been horrendous. Like, we've lost centre halves. Not having Maguire is huge, regardless of how gay he's played. Having Maguire and Stones with Shaw on the left and Walker on the right is the best back four. With Pickford in goal and Pope as a backup, that's the best goalkeeper quartet that we've got. Yeah. Midfield-wise, I think it's dead set now for me that Kobe Mainoo should start for England in that holding midfield role, because he gives Declan Rice the ability to push forward further. I think it's worth noting that Jude Bellingham, whilst he's been a very, very good player and he played all right in the first game, he needs dropping now. Saka, to be fair, as much as people have said he's been good, I think he's gone missing in the last
He's been anonymous. He's been anonymous.
100%. Cole Palmer came on for a little bit in the last game. Was brilliant. Shock horror. Phil Foden can't play on the left-hand side. Shock. Drop him and play him in the 10 role where he should
put him in the 10.
Put Gordon on the left-hand side. Give an injection of pace and tell him run at people. And Harry Kane is on fraud watch. Regardless of what you think, he genuinely needs to give his head a shake and realise that you're not, just because you play in Germany doesn't mean you need to try and win them the Euros. Like, play football for England, do what you do best, drop deep, but get into the bloody box. Stop standing on the edge of the frigging box and stop trying to play right wing. Get in the box. You are a striker. It's ridiculous. And then the 15, 20-minute cameo we've had of Ollie Watkins, he's getting in behind, he's turning his defender, he's bringing the ball down, he's holding play up as well, and he's playing like a striker. He's in the box and ready for the ball. For me, we are not going to win this Euros. However, once again, we have been given the lucky side of the draw and another side of the draw where, regardless of any game that you lose now, it's disappointing. If you lose to Switzerland, it's disappointing.
As good as it's been, I agree. Yeah.
And if you lose to the Netherlands, it's disappointing. And if you get to the final and get beat by France, fair enough. You've got to a final and you've lost to a very, very, very good team. Fair enough. But we need to stop. He needs to stop. Sorry, not we need to stop. He needs to stop with all of this. Let's bring our best players in and just play them all. Trent doesn't work as a centre midfielder. I said it at the start of the tournament. I say it now.
It was a stupid idea in the first place.
Of course it was. It was absolutely ridiculous. Putting Manu in there, Wharton or Manu, to be fair, I'm really, genuinely not bothered. The only reason I'm saying Manu is because Manu came on and was.
I agree. I know Wharton will hate every single one of us and think we're all six-fingered inbreds, but I actually quite like him. He's a difficult person to dislike. He's a good footballer, and I just even though it's Blackburn, I love the fact that he's come through his own club's academy and he's done very well, and I respect that no end.
And in 18 months, his entire life's changed.
Yeah, exactly. I like him. I genuinely like him. Some comments I'll quickly go through, actually. Mac says, quick one, reports Bellingham needs a rest. Rubbish, telling me a 21-year-old is at the top of his game, paid millions, need a rest. He's been poor, but it shouldn't need a rest. Dan Taylor says, lads, I'm at a kid's birthday party and bored as F. Please keep me entertained until 2 p.m. Not sure we'll keep going until 2 p.m, mate, because I am absolutely starving, and I might even nip down to that Paddy on parade thing in a bit. Carl Sutcliffe says, who do you think should be England manager? Not sure, mate, but not Southgate. I'd give it Potter. I'd bin Southgate off at the end of this tournament and give it Potter just because he's out of work. I'm not one of these people that says they should be English. Just get the best person for the job. Why? Especially when English coaches don't really have a stats show this aren't really the best in the world. Carl Sutcliffe says, I love up. I think you meant to say live up Healywood. Are we close to each other, lads? Well, I'm not going to give my home address out to you, mate, but I'm Laura House. Dan Taylor says Jurgen Klopp should be the manager. I know there'll be some opposition to that because he's German, but again, I don't care less if he's German, Argentine, or from Mars. If he's the best person for the job, he's the best person for the job.
It should have been Jose Mourinho. It should have been Jose Mourinho. Before this tournament started, they should have got him out and put Jose Mourinho in. Southgate has had enough tournaments now to go and really make a statement. And his biggest statement is losing a final, by the way. Not the players, not the penalties. Sack that out your head. Gareth Southgate lost us a final because he was incompetent.
Because we sat back, just like we do every time. Did you see the graph for the 10 minutes after the Denmark goal? And the graph is just, we're just all in it.
Harry Kane played left back. Backing my point up of player like a frigging striker.
They have literally become a parody of themselves. Like everybody takes a piss saying, "Oh, England score, they sit back," and they literally do it now and do it to a ridiculous amount. Sam Lane says Tarky should have been in the squad. I know that's Burnley bias, but there's some, I don't understand why he's never really been given the chance.
100%. I've said that for years. James Tarkowski is maybe not
better than Dunk
now. But last season and subsequent years at Burnley, he was one of England's best centre-backs. If you're telling me that Lewis Dunk has been taken to this tournament over James Tarkowski, then you know absolutely nothing about football, and all you do is look at the league table. If you see Brighton in 7th and you say he should be in that England squad, he has been shocking. And there's a reason why he's not playing a single second. All right, Tarky might go and not play a single second. He deserves to be there a lot more than Lewis Dunk does. He deserves
100%.
to be there a lot more than Ezri Konsa does. He deserves to be there a lot more than Tyrone Mings did. So I've never backed that. Ben Mee, I agree with. I don't think Ben Mee should have ever played in that England squad, just because they don't need a leader, and that's what his best quality was. He wasn't an unbelievable centre-back. He was an unbelievable on-the-pitch leader, and he was a good enough defender. But Tarky was better than Ben Mee was as a player, as a genuine defender. But my biggest thing is, with England, is you look at all these top teams in the tournament now. Germany, okay, granted, the referee gave them a path into the quarterfinal last night, but they've been very, very good this tournament. So have Spain. Spain have been my team of the tournament, 1,000,000%. Spain are the team to go and beat.
Spain have been the best team. France have been underwhelming. I think Germany have been underwhelming, if I'm being honest. They were very good against Scotland, but the last 3 games, Germany, I think they have been underwhelming. We've been underwhelming.
But it's Belgium is shy. Game that they still had. Like they still had a lot of control of a game. Like you never thought Denmark were going to beat them yesterday. They did. It was quite horrendous, those VAR calls, though. How you can give someone's toenail off drive and a handball from 30 centimetres away.
English referees, mate. Carl Sutcliffe says, have we any idea who the next Burnley manager is going to be? This is dragging on now and getting beyond a joke. We need to know. And I presume you've joined the live late, Kyle. No worries. I understand people are busy. But when we finish this live now, the video stays on so you can watch it back at your leisure. I will also be uploading it as a podcast so you can listen to it when you're doing your chores later on or driving to work tomorrow. But we have already discussed that. We discussed that right at the beginning, over an hour ago now, mate. So yeah, when we finish this chat, the video stays on. You can watch it back or you can listen to it tomorrow when you're doing what you're doing. Andrew, then, Sam's had a bit of a rant. It took a while, but Sam's had a bit of a rant. I think you missed a lot of it when your laptop battery died. But what are your thoughts on England so far then, mate?
It's just been boring, hasn't it? Like, we won the group, we're through. We've got a relatively easy draw today, so it's hard to complain. But like, we went 1-0 up against Serbia. Serbia were at first game, weren't it?
Yeah.
Went 1-0 up against Serbia, and then thought, right, this is it. We could go get another 2 or 3 goals here, and we did what England do and sit back and managed to win 1-0. Then Denmark, again, we went 1-0 up, and then Harry Kane were playing as a centre-back, and we just sat back again, and they scored a goal which we shouldn't have conceded. Like,
it was a decent finish, but we were just inviting the pressure, and that's the problem.
But like, I think Gay lost the ball in the first place for them to get the throw in, which then Kane gave the ball away for them to score that goal, which went through like 3 or 4 defenders before Pickford.
With the architects of our own downfall.
100%.
Yeah, it's like we've gone through all last season watching Burnley fuck it up to then think, oh yeah, at least it's the Euros, we've got something to enjoy, for then England to do the exact same thing what we did all last season. But yeah, we're not going to win it. Like, we'll get knocked out we'll get through tonight, and we'll get knocked out in next round by Switzerland.
100%. I think we both said that when your laptop died. But there was, like, yesterday, they were on the front foot. They were pressing teams. If Switzerland have the ball on the front foot and press us when we don't have the ball, when they don't have the ball, we'll crack. 100% we'll crack. We'll give it away and they'll score. We are not going to beat Switzerland. And I actually have a shift booked for the Saturday, for Saturday. And my mates would saying, you got to cancel that. It's quarterfinals. I'm not going to cancel it because I'm just going to get pissed off about us losing. So I'm going to go into work. I'm going to earn money. I can watch it at work because I work in TV. So, but 100% Switzerland, I think, will beat us. Genuinely do think that.
Italy play the same way as we do, though. Like, no identity, no pattern of play. Takes us forever to get the ball into their box. Takes us forever to try and fashion a chance. Like, passes the ball around the defence, keeps loads of the ball, but doesn't do anything with it. So, and they exploited that Switzerland were a million times better than Italy.
Yeah,
100%.
And Switzerland
So
will be
much
a
better.
million times better than us.
But it's
100%.
frustrating. Like, we've got, like, I keep going back to, like, Mike Richards said something after the first game where we probably have the best players in terms of individual quality, like when you look at who's in that squad, but we've probably got the worst team because we can't play it together.
Yeah,
and like Harry Kane is not a centre mid. Why does he
not,
come,
or
like,
a left back?
No, he's one of the world's best strikers. Like, we know how good he is. Why is he coming back so deep? Like, yeah, fair enough. You want him to defend when he needs to, but when he gets the ball, you've got defenders who are further forward than him.
Exactly.
Like, it's so frustrating because everyone can see it, and yet Southgate can't. And he's riding off the back of a Euro final and a World Cup semi-final where we did better than we should have done. We did better than we expected. And that's how he's still in the job. And, like, I'm not saying
I think he did
go, but
I think it is. I think after this tournament, it's time for him to go. We can't go into another tournament with him. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, people always go, obviously, he got us to a World Cup semi-final, a Nations League semi-final, if you're bothered about that, a Euros final, another World Cup quarter-final. Like, yes, we had, when we lost against Iceland under Hodgson, we had no identity, but we didn't have a great squad either. No. And then Southgate's come in, and he's created this us against the world sort of attitude where everyone wants to play for England. And he was good for England at that time. Like, he was good for where we were then. Now we're at the other end of it. We've got another golden generation coming through, and we're wasting tournaments with defensive-minded managers because we're not good enough at the back.
We're wasting our best strikers since Wayne Rooney and Michael Owen.
Exactly. Like, because we've got this dreadful manager.
Yeah, but when Harry Kane moves on, who is our number one striker? Callum Wilson? Ivan Toney?
Watkins?
Like, I don't know. Ollie Watkins is brilliant, right? Ollie Watkins is brilliant. The gap from Ollie Watkins to Ivan Toney is that. The gap from Ollie Watkins to Harry Kane is that. That's how different it is. So, yes, he's still a good striker. You don't go into an international tournament thinking, brilliant, we've got Ollie Watkins up front. We are now in the middle of another brilliant generation of England. But one of the things I always go back to, and it's like, look at all the other national teams. Spain can bring someone off and bring somebody else equally as good on, right? We take off Saka and bring on Jared Bowen. Yeah. We bring off Foden and bring on Anthony Gordon. Granted, I want Gordon to start, but the gap from Foden to Anthony Gordon is ridiculous. Centre midfielders, you take off Rice or Bellingham, you bring on Cole Palmer. That's the closest change that we've got. You bring off Rice for Conor Gallagher, right? You bring off Walker for Trent. That's close again, but at the same time, Trent is defensively inept. He's got no idea what to do defensively.
But he's playing Trent. He's not even playing Trent at right back. He's playing him as the centre mid. Like you say, you've got Cole Palmer, who's good in. He's done really well for Chelsea this season. Granted, a lot of his goals were penalties, but he's done well for Chelsea. You've got Conor Gallagher, who shouldn't even be there, but he's there, and yet you're still playing a right back in centre midfield. Like,
it doesn't make any sense, mate. But
no.
whilst we've got this manager, it's impossible. But then you go back to all the players that have missed out. You've got no Sterling, you've got no Grealish, you've got no Rashford. I'd rather take them out of form than take Jared Bowen in form.
No.
Because Jared Bowen in form is all right.
I don't know why we didn't take Grealish. I get the Rashford one. I get the Sterling one. Why didn't we take Grealish?
They give you something so different. Like, they give you something so, like, Sterling can give you almost like a centre forward playing right wing. You can get them nicks in behind because he's constantly trying to get in behind. Rashford gives you strong, powerful running and the ability to score a goal from outside the box as well. Grealish gives you the techie feet on the left-hand side, which is kind of what we've already got with Foden, and Foden doesn't work, but that's Grealish's natural position.
Exactly.
I'd rather play him there. Whereas having Jared Bowen, I think bringing him for a straight swap for Saka, it's like taking the same player off. Saka's better, but they play the same way. They're both not rapid, but they both can beat the man, but it's the same player. Like, you bring on Anthony Gordon on the left-hand side, that's different to Foden. That makes sense. You put Foden in the 10 and drop Bellingham back. Play Bellingham in centre mid next to Rice. Bellingham pushes forward more. Rice plays the hold. And you give Foden the license to play the ball around a fast left winger, a good player like Saka, and can unlock Harry Kane. What we've got, though, is you're bringing on Eze. I love Eze. I think he's a brilliant player. Where's his best position? Is he better on the right? Is he better on the left? Is he better through the middle? Are you telling me you're bringing Eze on before Palmer in 10 or the right-hand side? No. Are you going to put him on the left-hand side over Anthony Gordon? No. Would you put him in the left-hand side over Grealish? No. Would you do it over Rashford? No. Would you do it over Sterling? No. So why have we taken him?
Why are you taking him?
Yeah. What I don't understand is this obsession that Southgate has got, and everybody always just goes along with it, is the obsession with playing two defensive midfielders. Exactly. Maybe play it in the final against Germany or France if we get there, but why are we playing two defensive midfielders against Slovenia and Serbia, for God's sake? That's what annoys me. Like, I would do it as in having only the one DM, and obviously this might be a bit narrow, but you get the width from the fullbacks and the players up front. And I picked for in goal. Sure, if fit. I think that's another problem as well that we've not mentioned, is having Trippier at left back. I love Trippier, ex-Burnley player, but he's so right-footed. As soon as he gets the ball, he comes inside. Same with Foden. As soon as he gets the ball, he comes inside. There's no balance at all on that left. So as soon as we're getting the ball out wide, there's no width. So this will, even though I'm dropping a DM and having a bit of narrow midfield, this will offer more width because of the fullbacks and the forwards. So I'd have Shaw at left back, Stones and Gay in the middle, and Walker at right back. Then I'd just have Rice in DM. Then I'd have Bellingham in the 8 role, Foden in the 10, Gordon on the left, Saka on the right, and Kane up front. It's unlucky for Mainu and Wharton that they haven't made it, but I wouldn't be playing 2 DMs. And I think if Southgate had a system where he only played the 1 DM, both of them wouldn't be there, and probably Wharton would have missed out because he plays for Palace and not Man United like Mainu. Whereas I do think Wharton is probably better at this stage, but again, we'll see. But that's what I do. And I've Bellingham in the 8, box to box, doing what he does best, arriving late. Foden in the 10, doing what he does best, arriving late. Actual players who can provide width with their left foots on the left. Saka's probably done well to keep his spot on that one. Take your pick, maybe stick Palmer there. And Kane, say to Kane, stop fucking coming back. But if you've got Foden in the 10 and Bellingham doing the box-to-box stuff, Bellingham will be coming deep and picking the ball up for him, so Kane won't have to do it. But that's what I'd do tonight. But Southgate's going to play 2 DMs and tell Kane to take corners or something again.
Yeah, I back that. And to answer that question, yes.
He's class, mate.
Come on. He's
just because I understand he has sexual relations with horses, but he's class. He's such a good footballer.
The thing is, as well, like, he's still only young, so him being in the squad now, even if he doesn't get any minutes, he will be in our squad for the World Cup. Like, he will be in the squad for the World Cup and should probably start. But like you said, Joe, we don't need 2 DMs playing. So, yeah, it's unlucky for Wharton. Mainu shouldn't even be there. He's only there because he plays for Man United.
No, Mainu's class. Come on.
He's good.
So good.
He's good. But again, he will be in our squad next time. He should be starting. But he's not, like, he started, the last 10 games or something. Like, he's only there because he plays for Man United.
Yeah. He was the best. He was a saving grace from that last game, though. When he came on, we actually
we did look a lot better. Dan as well says, like, do we think he's Bellingham quality? 2 completely different players, mate.
No,
you're comparing apples with oranges.
More of an attacking player. The other one's able to control a game from deep. Like,
Wharton's your Jack Cope sort of midfielder.
I think there's
and plus Bellingham's a one-off. Like, that Bellingham is going to be probably a Ballon d'Or winner. Like, he is obviously an extreme example of how good. So no, to answer your next question in terms of potential and talent, I don't think Wharton's as good as Bellingham. No, but that doesn't mean he's not good.
No, 100%. I mean, my team would have Mainu in there, and I also do slightly back the notion that so it's a personal gripe, but I think Declan Rice is a good DM. I do, but I think he's a better box-to-box midfielder. So having a DM in there, so like when Southgate came out and made the comment about Calvin Phillips, No, right. So it's stupid, but I get what he means. Like, it is a stupid comment because in that moment, you don't need to say that. Like, you don't need to tell us that the reason why we didn't score goals against Denmark and score goals against Slovenia is because we didn't have a holding midfielder. But I know what he means because Declan Rice, in the last 15 games of the Premier League season, got dropped from DM to play centre mid, and Jorginho went behind him because Jorginho can play the DM role perfectly. He can mop the ball up and he can distribute from deep, and he doesn't need to do anything fancy. He just needs to pass the ball left and right. That's why he's there. If we have somebody like a Calvin Phillips behind Rice, so we can play Rice as the 8, and then have Palmer or Foden or Bellingham in that 10 role, then that for me is a more fluent midfield. If you play Manu in that DM role, I don't think Manu has done enough as a DM. And I also think he's a bit more of a box to box. He's a bit more attacking, and he likes to get on the ball and run with it. So when people are shouting for Wharton, I think he's the one that I actually get. Like, if he played behind Rice, and then you can interchange that front three, and let's say, okay, Foden stays on the left-hand side, none of us want it, but he stays there, and you play like Palmer or Bellingham in the 10, I think you'd see some more fluidity in midfield. It'd be much more fluent. It'd be much more attacking. It wouldn't be sit back with 2 holding midfielders to get the ball and 2 players need to pass it left and right. You don't need that. You see it with Spain. They've got Rodri.
Yeah.
Rodri will do that.
Exactly.
I don't need Fabian Ruiz to stand next to me and do the same as what I'm doing. I can do it on my own. So we don't need to do that either. So for me, I think we've got a lot to go for. We've got a lot that needs to fall for us. We need to play Switzerland when they're not on it.
I mean, Scotland gave them a game, to be fair, but they looked so good against Italy.
They just looked brilliant. And like I say, Italy for me are the closest team in the top 10 that look like us. No identity, no fluidity, no idea. So I think if they came up against us, they'd be licking the lips, personally.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Anything else, lads? We're pushing an hour and a half now. We'll start looking to
tidy up.
Wrap it up. Yeah, I need to have some food. Might have a look down at Paddy Parade if it's still on. And then I'm going to go to pub to watch England bore me to death. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. I might end up falling asleep in the Artenley. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks everybody for watching. Big thanks again to Sam and Andrew for coming on. It's good to be back. We will try and do one. Again, I'll put it in the WhatsApp group or message the lads individually, which seems to be the best way to off an hour, lads, please, says Dan. Sorry, mate. I'm starving. I need to go, mate. Maybe talk to some people there now. You'll have to maybe put your phone down, mate. Sorry, talk to some people. Or depending on what kids play area you're at, you could get a beer. I've been to somewhere where they sell some beers. But yeah, thanks for you, Dan, for coming in the chat. Thanks to everybody who's been in the chat. As I said earlier, when I end this video now, it stays on Facebook, it stays on YouTube. You can go back and watch it from the start, watch it back on demand whenever you want. Watch a bit now, watch a bit later, watch a bit before the England game. Do whatever you want. And I will, of course, be ripping the audio off and sticking it as a podcast as well. So, again, if you need to cut the grass with your headphones in, feel free to listen to TurfCast, or you can wait until you're driving to work tomorrow. Soccer Burnley, he says, does Dan. They sell beers there, mate. They sell beers there, mate. So you can get yourself a beer at that party. I think last time I went, actually, for a kids' party, I got a beer. But yeah, probably letting on too much about myself there than I should be doing. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for listening. I'll be carrying on the daily news shows that have been hitting the channel. I'll probably do one tomorrow around late morning time, because obviously I'll be at the pub tonight, so I'm not gonna record it tonight, ready for tomorrow. What date are we on? Monday. I'm working tomorrow night, so I'll probably do one late morning. But Claret's Daily News shows will be back. The podcast will hopefully try and be back next week again. If a manager is announced, we'll do an emergency live when we're all ready. If it's on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, though, I'll be at work, so it might be another Neil or Sam host job. We'll see. I'll mention it in the WhatsApp group. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everybody for listening. And we will see you next time.
Goodbye.